AetherDrift is in 2025, and it may look like it's a really long way away, but February is around the corner. And with a set like this coming up, there's probably cards and ideas players need to start thinking about before this set actually releases and before we start seeing a lot of spoilers. Guys, it's a little bit different with Wizards of the Coast, and there's things we need to talk about with this upcoming set. On the surface, Aether Drift, to me, and in my opinion, it looks like a joke. But as I get older, I'm learning things are not always as they appear. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on my channel today as we discuss an upcoming set that's, not even really close to being released yet. You're going to have to deal with the remastered product that is Innistrad, but Aether Drift as a standard set, it's coming down the pipe. It's going to be there, and we do need to talk about it because it's offering a bit of a different experience. Now, first, on the surface, if you've seen some of the photos, and no, I'm not showing a lot of graphics, it looks like they've taken imagery from Akira back in the day with the motorcycle and stuff. It looks like they're taking all these kind of almost Transformer-like cars from Tron and putting these things into a set. And it looks like junk to me. But I know better. But I keep saying it. I'm going to keep saying it to you. It looks like junk because that's how it looks when I look at it. It's not a Magic set like I've ever seen before. But I do recognize that things can be more than they seem. And no, that's not a Transformers reference, although I could probably play it off of that a little bit with this set, with the Aether Spark, which I put on the front page today, right? Aether Spark, the All Spark. You get where I'm going with this. A Planeswalker equipment. It's going to be very interesting. Now, these are things that we do need to realize because Wizards has been shaking things up. As they continue to expand into universes beyond, there's probably a reason why they're putting all these vehicles in there. We got a first glimpse of those like real heavy vehicles back in Kamigawa and Neon Dynasty, right? The escape limousines and stuff from New Capenna all the way through. They've given us some decent vehicles. Now, that does mean, though, that if we have vehicles coming down the pipeline, don't you think maybe somewhere out there we should be thinking what other vehicles and equipment we should buy now before prices start going up? Think about the decks you want to build. Look what happened with Assassin's Creed, with the Excalibur sword and Captain America. People got in there too late before that sword jumped up. By the time I'd gotten to the video and put it out, the price had already spiked up so much it was kind of like a foregone conclusion. But we're ahead of the curve right now. And if you're a player who thinks you're going to have an interest in building with this set, you should start putting your deck ideas together. You should start putting things down on paper. Because there is going to be good concepts and good ideas that are going to appeal to a lot of players, and it doesn't have to be in standard. You Commander players out there, you know what I'm talking about. We are aware of the Commander being the format that it is. Players like to build crazy, wild things, and if they give you more decent equipment and vehicles that you can apply to this Mad Max road race type set, it almost reminds me of Ready Player One. I know I'm off topic now, but Ready Player One with all the vehicle race when they're doing the whole thing and they got all the cool cars like the DeLorean. I'm just saying, you might look for references like that. They might put that kind of nostalgia in there to make us remember it. They might give us a Mad Max secret lair. That I would buy. It'd be very hard not to buy Mad Max. But when we look at this death race stuff, if we look at it and we see the potential of certain cards and ideas, not the joke of the set that it looks on the surface, there will be good cards and good mechanics within that set. Wizards is very good at that. Far more than I give them credit for most of the time, but I do recognize just because I'm not going to buy the card doesn't mean it's not going to kill me in an arena match, at a Friday Night Magic, or if I'm playing a Commander game and somebody comes up with a whole bunch of like Transformer type vehicle things that just slaughter me. It's going to happen. But if you're a player who has an interest in that, forget the price of the play boosters. Forget the price of collector boxes right now. We're not talking about that. That's down the pipeline. We need to look at the highway in front of us and say how fast we want to catch up to people who might already be buying these cards, who might already be looking at different vehicles and different equipment, different ways of attaching vehicles and equipment, different cards that allow you to attach things or crew things for free. These are the types of cards that could be coming up inside a Commander Precon, but you really want to take the chance. Look what happened with cards like Sliver Hive. It wasn't in the deck, was it? Wizards is more likely to skip some of these cards to make them more sought after for future products. Understanding the company lets you get ahead of the curve. It lets you know where their thought process is going to be so you can head them off at the pass. Now, by no means do I know every vehicle and creature and type card out there that may appeal to you as a player. It's not my job. My job is to kind of rattle your brain a bit and say, are you thinking about it? Have you thought about some of the cards you might want to pick up? Have you missed a few and said, I'm going to buy them later? Maybe now is the time where they're still cheap. There's a lot of cards. And there's other videos I have coming up talking about this, but there's lots of cards out there that are cheap right now, but we've seen what happens when a card comes along that causes that synergy to implode. And when that happens, it goes boom, and then the price is like 20, 30 bucks for a card that was $2. And then it stays that way for quite a while. Eventually always will drift down. There's always a chance that it stays high, but 9.95 times out of that 10, it always drops back down in price given enough time. But most players don't want to wait that long. They get caught up in the FOMO and they'll jump the queue and they'll buy the card. They won't even hesitate because to them, a card that was $1 going to $5-6 doesn't seem like a big leap to pay for a card that you want right away. But knowing you could have got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cards for $1 or $2 to help round out a commander deck, or maybe build for a future deck build in another format you want to build, like Pauper. You could get some of these cards now, and of course Pauper cards are going to be cheap. I understand that, guys. I'm just giving examples of deck construction ideas you may not have thought of yet that are going to be arriving. Now, when you look at the Voltron thing, you look at all the different types of artifact decks out there. We don't know if they're going to add anything crazy like affinity for artifacts. We don't know. We don't know if there'll be new moxes in this set. You have no idea what the actual conceptualization other than what they've shown us. It's a race car set. It's got some weird characters we know, kind of, and an Akira image. And it's set in some kind of wild race across the multiverse. Now, honestly, as a person who enjoys the fantasy concept more, you know what? I'm off topic again. We're talking about cards. And let's stick to that. Because the idea, again, if I like or dislike the set, does not matter for today's conversation. Because there's probably going to be cards I'm going to want anyway. If they give me a cool piece of equipment that's a sword, if they give an artifact, creature, or constructed idea, or some crazy land that will work in a different deck, that's not going to stop me from buying it. So I know it's not going to stop you. So the opinion, again, about how I feel looking at the set or the idea, although it's going to cloud my judgment, and it probably clouds yours as well, at least for those of us who are really used to the hardcore fantasy theme, we need to adapt sooner or later. We don't always have to appreciate the cards they're giving us, but if you enjoy playing the game like I do, you will adapt and you'll just play the cards you're given and do the best you can. Have a good time with it and enjoy it. Yes, there'll probably be purists who will say, no, it's got to be this old stuff. Again, we're off topic. See what I mean? See how easy it is to drag yourself away to looking at the idea of a set versus the mechanics and cards that will be found inside that set. How do we even know? They don't give us banding again. How do we know that I can give us some crazy idea we haven't even heard of before? A piece of equipment that allows artifacts to untap an extra time per turn. Maybe there's going to be some vehicle out there that looks like Voltron itself. Maybe it looks like a Robotech Veritech fighter. Maybe there's some semblance to other pieces of nostalgia. But you attach those things, whether you like them or not, to a decent card mechanic. Whether you appreciate the art or not, you're going to use the card. Because the mechanic is what matters. So if you're a player out there right now thinking about building some cool deck that's going to have vehicles in it, and you want to be able to crew them really quickly, maybe you're going to look at ways of attaching them, ways of getting tokens into play, and ways of protecting them for the long run. And when you think of the multitude of other cards out there that can do all those effects, you're not going to be the only one looking at it. There are tens of thousands of Magic players who will see upcoming set releases and start buying in advance. It's the same we saw when we heard about Commander Playgroup. They all just kind of gave up their jobs because of what happened. And Wizards took over. And they're the new rules committee for everything. And people were like, well, what's going to be unbanned? What's going to happen? Prices stabilized, and a whole bunch of banned Commander cards started selling at accelerated rates. Okay? The same happens for any standard set. It happens because players realize that there's a lot of money to be made from those players who will just buy cards in the moment and not think about how much they're actually spending if they looked back 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, 12 weeks ago. So I hope you take a minute with this video. I hope you get to enjoy yourselves and say, this is crazy, this is kooky. He's right how easy we can get clouded by the idea. I hope you agree with me. And if not, argue with me in the comment section. That's fine too. AetherDrift is a set that I've learned not to hate yet. At least my personal opinion will be I hate it because of the way it looks. But I will look beyond. MTG Foundations, I gave it a bad rap because the 50% new, 50% reprint. But I look back on some old videos I did, and I said when Wizards of the Coast gives us a reprint set, they should always put at least 50% new cards. And they did. So what am I arguing with myself about? It's something I even said I wanted at one point. So grow up and grow a pair. Understand these sets are going to keep happening. Enjoy the cards and understand that even a set like Foundations can teach you that there's good cards in that set. They don't have to be expensive. They have to be playable and enjoyable when you get to a table and play with them. And I think a set like AetherDrift, as much as I may not appreciate the artwork or the idea itself, I know there'll be good cards in there. And if I'm going to start looking at some ideas, I'm sure a lot of you guys are too. So I hope you give this video a thumbs up. I hope you guys comment in the comment section, letting me know what you think of a set like this, and if you'll be able to look beyond the artwork or the idea and appreciate the actual mechanics of the cards they represent and give to us in this set. And would you buy it? Would you buy it if there's good cards in there? Would you buy a box or would you stick to singles? I bet most of you guys are going to say singles. I can feel it, the tip of my tongue. It's like, I know I'd buy singles, so they're going to say they buy singles. Now we're at the end of the video. You can tell me how you felt about it. We can all be honest with each other. Yeah. Guys, have a great one. AetherDrift. I'm going to keep my mind open. On this one. Well, here we are at the end of the video. And what you're seeing right now, if you're this far into my video, you can put a boomstick in the comment section. That way I know. But I look at this and I say these are the patrons, the supporters of my channel, who allow for this daily upload of content to happen each and every day. Whether you're a YouTube membership member, whether you're my patron, guys, you help make it happen. So thanks again for that support, everyone. Hey, guys. Welcome back to the end of the video. I'm going to be honest. I had a hard time with AetherDrift. I still do. But I also recognize that it's coming whether I like it or not. When I look at something like this as a content creator, I've got to look at it and say, is there anything good that could happen with this set? Is there any positivity out there? And I think there is. I may harp on things. I may not like the price tag of play booster boxes. But most times I've admitted to myself over the course of a set's release and as the things start showing up that a lot of these cards are actually pretty good. And Wizards is getting pretty slick at how they put things together. So I think we're going to have some opportunities with this set. I think the negativity of this set may be the bonus, the diamond weighting. People will look at some of the cards and just say no. I hope people look at these cards with eyes open and say, how is that going to be worked into a standard deck? How is that going to be worked in? And then try to nail some of these cards before they get released. Try to get some pre-orders in, try to hit things up, and maybe flip some easy money. I know I might be looking at it, which is weird. This is not a set for me in terms of its artistic appeal. But either way, we're at the end. I got food waiting downstairs because, okay, we're off topic. You're here at the end of the Ramble Jamble. This is my time. I can say what I want, and I'm going to. Mrs. Mox's mother came to our other property on the weekend, and she fed my dog things she should not feed him. And when I got home from work tonight, and nobody else was home yet, I spent a very long time picking up watery things off the ground that I do not want to pick up. And there was 12 of them, and it took almost 3 hours to scrub and disinfect. Now, I'm not blaming, yes, I am blaming the mother-in-law. You're right, I am. You boys and girls out there, don't feed your dog strange things. Help your parents out, and if you have a pet, you better be able to clean up after it. You better be able to take it all in, breathe in the scent, and say, yep, it happened, and I'm here to tidy up the mess. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, that was your Ramble Jamble, brought to you by the letter K. Because sometimes, no, it's okay. I'm not going to say it.